Hello everyone and welcome back to another MotoGP 26 video. Today we're here once again to try out the adaptive AI. It's been in a couple of games now, it's getting on a bit, and when they announced this a couple of years ago, it was a really good feature they brought in. It just didn't work amazingly in MotoGP 24, and to be honest, right, since Ride 6 came out, it's the only thing I've used. So coming into GP26, I was hopeful that it would work correctly. In today's video, we're going to do 3 races here as Jorge Martin in Jerez. Then we're going to jump to Fabio Quartararo and do a full race weekend at Brazil. So at the end of this first race, it's a bit of a messy one. The AI difficulty at the start is always a bit up and down because it doesn't know what sort of rider you are. It has to kind of judge it on the fly, meaning you get kind of weird races. So for the first race here, I was in the 38, nothing special for me. The fastest lap in the race was a 37.0, so kind of a bit too fast if that was my actual pace. So for race 2, it was going to be very interesting to see would they slow down from a 37.0 because they were about a second a lap past me, and for a normal player, if I'm doing the mid 38s, that's a bit too much of an advantage for the AI. So coming into race 2, I was very interested to see would they kind of just fall back to maybe the fast lap to be 37.5, because I knew myself that these races weren't really meaning anything. I wasn't trying to do ultra competitive laps. The AI difficulty, it was actually kind of causing me to have harder races because I was starting in the mid pack and I was having more mistakes behind riders because they were slower. But in this race, so far the fastest lap is a 37.6, which is about half a second, 6/10 slower than in race 1. We've also done a 37.9, so we've got a good chunk quicker, so we're much closer. So immediately it does look like it's brought us all closer together. Now of course, in these races, when you're battling AI that are probably a bit too slow for you, it is easy to kind of get caught up. But again, 37.8, a lot of low 38s, high 37, so immediately the game does recognize that I was too slow, and then it immediately puts the AI back a bit. Now in race 3, just kept getting taken out, and it was kind of good for the video, bit of a interesting one to see if I really slow down in a race. Even in a 3-lap race, will the game register and slow the AI down as almost a bit of rubber banding? Big crash over the line for Jorge Martin, and I think the fastest lap in that race was a 37.9, so once again game has gone slower. So far in the small little test window, it looks like it's going the right way. But the big thing for me is that if you did a career mode race, for example, where you do practice on a Friday, qualifying on a Saturday, maybe do the sprint, maybe not, and then do the race, they'd be very inconsistent over the weekend, and that's what really frustrated me in 24 when this system came in. 25, it was okay, but again, not perfect. Ride, obviously, you don't have to have the multiple race sessions, so it can be a bit easier for the game to kind of recognize your speed. But what we did here is we went straight into Friday's practice session. We're currently about 1.8 under here as Fabio Quartararo on the inline/V for Yamaha. Now, I wanted to make sure that in this practice session that they would come up to speed with me, because obviously at this point here we're about to go much quicker than them. So for the rest of the session, I went around doing similar lap times just to see by the end of the session would they catch up to my speed, which they did. Marc Marquez in the end of practice is only a tenth off, and I think the spread of the top 12 was only about half a second, which is brilliant. In qualifying, we actually go a little bit slower than we did in Friday's practice, which works out as we qualify a little bit lower on the grid. So it does up their pace slightly. You can see Jorge Martin and Marc Marquez. Marquez even gets into the 16s, so they do just turn up the wick again for qualifying. So that looks to be again pretty good, pretty realistic that they go slightly quicker in qualifying. The big test for me now was that I can't do 16s, we'll say, because I didn't do them in the practice or qualifying. I shouldn't be able to beat them easily in the race, so I'm going to play most of the race through the first 3 laps. Now, quick disclaimer, the difficulty still seems a bit off to me in terms of a little bit too low, so the riding is pretty poor. I keep running into people, but just the way I make my lap time versus the way the AI make their lap time, we don't do it in the same way. So I keep running into people in this race, and for the 3 laps you'll see I killed pretty much the whole grid, so you're just going to have to deal with that. It's a byproduct of this experiment. Straight away from about 12th on the grid up to P4, so it shows that maybe on the opening lap they're a little bit timid. Now of course they don't seem to be able to race alongside each other very well, unfortunately. For years Milestone's AI have been on rails, and well, 26 is no different, if not worse. They just follow the leader. They cannot really have any sort of individuality, which is unfortunate. We're battling here with Zarco. Still struggling at low speed with this game with the change direction. It just can feel a bit off. So there's our first victim. I think that was Pedro. So sorry to the shark. That pushes us back down the field. And in a way it was good, right? Because I wanted to see after the first lap and my pace being kind of recorded, would the game then increase the speed of the AI? Would it slow them down? Again, this experiment is very interesting to me because it's one of those ones that's a live experience. You see it happening in front of you. You can see the races change. From memory, the race was a little bit too slow for me. Now again, it does say in the when you turn on the adaptive AI that the more you do, the better it'll get rating wise and the more accurate it'll get. But also the adaptive AI wants you around the top 5. It'll always want you battling for the win. It's for the casual player, the guy that picks up the game maybe 2 times a month and jumps on, does 3 or 4 races in career mode, doesn't touch the game, maybe isn't a huge fan of the real life sport, doesn't know every single configuration about the sport. That's what the adaptive AI for me is about. It's for that kind of guy and gal. Again, there's another KTM. Fuck KTM's is this race video for some reason. So for me, I think it's doing a pretty good job because I could get back up to the top 5 pretty easily. And then usually in milestone games, there's about 2 or 3 AI at the top of the field that will always have a little bit extra, and that's kind of just the way they simulate their race pace. So you can probably just see up the track there is a bit of a gap from, I can't see who it is, and then just 2 guys out front. It will be Mark and Bezecchi running away with at the front, so they already have a bit more of a pace advantage. But at the end of lap 2, obviously we've knocked off another KTM. We are catching up to the back of Francesco Bagnaia, but I wouldn't say by any means is the AI way out the window for me. They are pretty accurate. So far this video has been an extremely overwhelmingly positive for the AI. Unfortunately, again, like I said, racecraft and the blinkers are still an issue with Milestone's AI, but I must say so far I've been very impressed, to the point where at the end of this video I probably will admit I will probably use this for my career modes myself. Unfortunately we're about to kill Pecco. We can take so much entry speed through that corner and hold it. The AI kind of lift and brake, and I think I killed Frankie Morbidelli the next lap as well through here, I believe. But the AI for me in this race was just a bit too slow. But again, you could argue if I did a full practice session like you would in most people would do in career mode, another KTM, we're 3 for 3 baby. If I did a full 50-minute practice session, I guarantee I would have gotten mid-16. And then they just turned the wick up a bit more, and in the race I probably am P5, P6 on merit, and I don't have anything else. So again, a lot of the adaptive AI comes down to the more data you give it, the better it comes back out. And I must say, so far, it does look like they have improved on 26, which is great for the casual player. And even myself, to be honest, a lot of people, like, it's very difficult to get the difficulty 100% accurate on these games, because you will end up sometimes with race tracks that they are just a bit slower, a bit faster. So having a feature that basically scales the AI to you, brilliant. Chef's kiss for a milestone AI. Again, 17.5 there, so we do pick up the pace. We end up killing everyone else in the race, finishing nowhere. But again, 17.5 is my best. We basically matched Bezecchi. Moreira does a 17.0. But overall, I think you've about half a second above and below my lap times there. You've Miller and Mir there doing 18s, and you can see me down in 17.5. So again, so far for me, with a little bit of testing in the video I did, really good showing here for the adaptive AI. So again, if you are a casual player, I definitely would recommend this, because this clearly shows it is working and it's doing its job. So that's where we're going to end it for today. Hope you have enjoyed. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Slán go full Bucali.